Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name's So, and this is So Much. Thanks for watching if you're here. Thanks for coming back. You've seen some of my previous stuff. I am very new to the channel. This is like my third video that I've recorded here. Um, I love reaction channels. So I thought, why not do it? I was suggested by a couple of friends that I might be good at it. I don't know if that's true, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, I'm going to be looking at a video that I have not seen from Jimmy High Roller, one of my favorite channels. It's the harsh truth about the GOAT debate. It's a water cooler topic for most people these days. If you're sports fans, it's LeBron and it's MJ. Those are the two. I can see the arguments for both. But I am incredibly biased when it comes to MJ. I grew up outside of Chicago in the late 80s and the 90s, so he is like ingrained in my youth of what it means to be um, excellence in sport. Um, Beyond that, beyond my bias, which is clearly MJ, I I do I do know quite a bit about basketball. I watch it pretty religiously. I played it pretty religiously. Um, I appreciate LeBron. LeBron is a god. Um, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like you're comparing apples and oranges in a fruit salad. So we'll see. Let's take a look at the video. God, man, just a monster.
It's never gonna end, is it? LeBron's reign over the NBA.
No, it probably isn't. Although he did hurt his ankle recently.
LeBron is in his 19th NBA season and is somehow still one of the best players on the planet. This isn't supposed to happen.
He's gotten so much better too over the years.
In their mid to late 20s and then slowly regress as they age, eventually becoming a liability to their team and inevitably sailing off into the sunset, washed up and content with their achievements. But not LeBron. The man is fighting his age like he's got a grudge on time itself. And the more he piles up on these mind-bending feats, the more we must ask ourselves the question, and I really hate to do this, but is LeBron the greatest basketball player of all time?
Man, it's tough to argue against. It's tough to argue against.
Once and for all, be the GOAT. About 5 years ago, I uploaded my first basketball-related video onto this channel. The title of that video is LeBron the GOAT. You can still watch this video today, but since it's an absolute dog water of a production, I highly recommend.
The fact that 5 years ago people were already asking the question, and even previously, is LeBron the GOAT, says enough. It says enough to make the argument for him. LeBron is he's an A tier. He's an S tier in virtually every category you can talk about when it comes to basketball. So yeah, I mean, yes, LeBron is clearly one of the greatest.
And you steer clear of it. To summarize the video, I gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. Fast forward 5 years and thousands of hours of watching games, collecting data, and gathering context in this sport that we love. I've since changed my ways and realized that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. But my original assessment from 5 years ago hasn't completely changed, because I never said LeBron was the GOAT at the time. I just gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. But ever since I dropped that video, I've pretty much avoided the GOAT conversation altogether. I've put a spin on the idea of the greatest players in certain aspects of the game. I've talked about the greatest scorers, I've ranked players using purely numbers, but
I love this debate, by the way. I wish I had more people to debate this with daily, and I could probably go back and forth and argue for both sides because they both have the case. They both have, short of Kareem. I mean, people don't talk about Kareem, and I don't think that he is the greatest basketball player of all time. But when it comes down to accolades and resume, it's hard to argue against him on paper.
I've never really broken down who the greatest player
What I'm getting at is that these two are clearly gonna control the debate for years and quite a while to come.
There is, in my opinion, because I just feel like the topic is a bit redundant. And ESPN already gives you a daily update on the GOAT debate anyways, so no need for me to do it. But I think it's time we actually discuss this. Because what LeBron is doing at this point in his career
Is incredible.
is just absurd.
It's
At the moment,
incredible.
there are pretty much three different camps on the whole GOAT debate. People who think Michael Jordan is the GOAT, people who think LeBron is the GOAT, and people who are wrong. I'm just joking, of course.
I mean,
Not really. I'd say about 75% of people fall into the MJ's the GOAT category, about 20% of people fall into the LeBron's the GOAT category, and about 5% fall into the other category. Usually these other fans believe the GOAT is Wilt or Kobe or Kareem. There's not many of them, but boy, will they die on that hill. See, the thing here is that a lot of the fans in MJ's corner believe that he is and will forever be the GOAT. But realistically, is there anything LeBron can do to surpass him? I mean, there's gotta be some sort of objective metric we can use to distinguish the greatest player of all time. No opinions, no bias, just the facts. If LeBron somehow won 4 more championships and retired with 8 rings, he'd undoubtedly be the GOAT.
yeah, I agree with that.
So
Yeah.
there are paths for him to become the greatest ever. But where does that threshold lie, and what would LeBron have to achieve to get there? First, let's just take a look at the basic numbers. Between Michael and LeBron, LeBron has more career points, rebounds, assists, blocks, more triple doubles, higher field goal percentage, and a higher three-point percentage.
All right, so just right here, I think is a negative, in my opinion, is a negative against LeBron. Now, just hear me out. Like, I think a lot of people, especially with LeBron breaking the all-time points record, taking Kareem's points record back in February. A lot of people for LeBron will talk about career statistics, which are incredible. I have always been, and I mean, I just always have. I have always been impressed by per game statistics when it comes to basketball. Totals are like I heard an analogy a couple weeks ago. I heard an analogy a couple weeks ago when they were talking about LeBron breaking the points record, Kareem's points record. Is that it's not like breaking Hank Aaron's home run record. It's like breaking Emmitt Smith's rushing record. It's less impressive. Points are what you do to win basketball games, but they're also the most common statistic acquired in basketball. Like getting, all I'm saying is that I don't think total points, while it's incredibly impressive, is as impressive as a higher points per game average, which, I mean, Mike's far superior in that category.
And Michael has more steals and a higher free throw percentage. But this whole argument, the career totals argument, is only useful in demonstrating LeBron's longevity and sustained
Right there, yeah. I mean, yes, it's sustained excellence. And again, you can't take it away. Like, LeBron is like my second favorite player of all time, and I'm from Chicago. Like, I hated him during the first half of his career, but like just as a basketball fan, he's incredible.
So instead of looking at career totals, let's look at career averages. Michael averages more points and more steals, and LeBron averages more assists and more rebounds. And as much as it pains me to say this, this is usually where the argument for the GOAT ends for most people. Throw in a required comment about their finals.
I mean, that's pretty fucking incredible, like right there. Like, that's a pretty even debate right there.
To unpack here. So let's unpack it. So y'all know how much I like advanced stats. They don't tell the full story, but if you know which ones to look for,
I mean, if you're talking advanced stats, I mean, he takes advanced stats to like the breaking point.
48, offensive box plus minus, defensive box plus minus, value over replacement, and true shooting percentage. These 6 advanced stats give us efficiency, production, value, impact, and pretty much everything in between. And in these 6 advanced statistics, Michael Jordan exceeds LeBron in 5 of them. He's more efficient overall. He contributes to more wins.
The true shooting percentage bugs me about LeBron too. Like it's okay. Like
Valuable on the court than LeBron is. The only
again, I don't want to dog on him, but like in this argument,
percentage. Now, in
the majority of his true shooting percentage,
nearly every
like positivity, comes from inside 3 feet, which he's a monster at. He's like 78% or something like that. But
uncanny just how close LeBron is to MJ across the board. Just a fraction behind Jordan in pretty much everything.
yeah.
But these numbers aren't even addressing who's greater, because that conversation would involve accolades and accomplishments.
And how do you even define who is greater? Greatest is such a wide term when it comes to basketball. Like,
And
sorry.
impact on the game. Take away the rings, the influence, the intangibles, the opinions, and it's virtually objectively true that Michael was a better basketball player than LeBron. But the GOAT debate isn't necessarily about who is the better player. It's about who
Hey.
is the greatest player.
That's the wrinkle. That's like such an objective thing.
Now, we cannot have a thorough GOAT debate without discussing the accomplishments of each player. Numbers are cool and they have their purpose, but numbers alone aren't indicative of greatness. They're just a vehicle to greatness. This is why, despite James Harden spending half a decade piling up some of the greatest scoring numbers in NBA history, most people don't consider him greater than some players with far lesser offensive numbers. The numbers complement the accolades, not the other way around. This is also why I consider Wilt Chamberlain to have been a better basketball player than Bill Russell, but Bill Russell was greater than Wilt. Wilt achieved his greatness through his
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. If you think about Bill Russell, like, fantastic, but
unrelenting style of winning basketball. So let's take a look at the accomplishments of both Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Now, there are plenty of other awards a player can earn in the NBA, but these are the ones that really stand out on a player's resume. Championships, Finals MVPs, regular season MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA selections, and All Defensive Team selections. And amongst these 6 categories, Jordan beats LeBron in 5 of them. And Michael accomplished all of this in just 15 seasons to LeBron's
That's
full 18
100% true.
seasons. The only category where LeBron outperformed Michael is in All NBA selections. And most will argue that, again, this is an accomplishment of longevity more than
what's the old saying that like you know, a candle that burns twice as bright lives half as long or something like that. Like LeBron has just been like steady. You know what I mean? He's just been like this steady excellence for so long that it's undeniable how great he is. But Jordan was like, he's just like, I mean, I watched it. Like, unless you actually lived through it and saw what he did, not only to a basketball or the court or his opponents or his teammates or the people watching him in the stands, like, you don't understand, like, how incredible he was, how, like, head and shoulders above everybody who was, how dominant he was. LeBron has been a monster in the league that Jordan would have flown over. Like, he would have just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to describe, like, you can't describe, like, that fear that Jordan put in the league.
That LeBron has been a step below Jordan in terms of greatness. So now the race to become the GOAT has become a marathon. Because eventually, the sheer volume of LeBron's career numbers and achievements may become so overwhelming,
Which is incredible, man.
but to concede that he is in fact the greatest player of all time, which brings us to a real dilemma in this age-old debate.
Yeah, there's a chance that LeBron could be considered the greatest.
Twice as bright, burns half
Right
as
here,
long.
right here.
A great quote by the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu regarding the idea of excellence and the sustainability of it. Almost as if you can have longevity or be exceptional, but you can't have both. Now, in the world of basketball and sports in general, usually being exceptional translates to longevity and vice versa. Michael Jordan was excellent for 13 seasons in the NBA. His flame was violently bright and it burned for quite some time. But what if there was a flame that burned about 95% as bright and lasted much, much longer? At a certain
Jesus,
point,
that tomahawk, man.
of even
That tomahawk
the
is so
so
iconic. Just
fast by the flame that just won't quit. Of Of course, LeBron isn't a flame. He's a 6'9", 250-pound freak of nature in basketball
Christ.
shoes, but his light shines about 95% as bright as Michael Jordan's did, and it's lasting a whole lot longer. When does the longevity of LeBron's brilliance simply outmatch the slightly greater but much shorter brilliance of Michael?
How incredible is he?
Mike trumps LeBron in pretty much every single metric other than longevity and overall production. So the real question here is, how much longer will LeBron have to be excellent before the majority agrees that he is greater than Michael was? The man is in his 19th NBA season, and he's leading the NBA in scoring. He's still a top 5 player in the league, and his bag is getting deeper and deeper with every season. Here's a chart of LeBron's total points, assists, and rebound averages throughout each season.
This is what I'm talking about, man. Just like consistently awesome.
Total average of points, assists, and rebounds for every season of his career. So, for example, this season LeBron is putting up 8, 6, and 30 a game. So his total for the season
That's so
is
good.
44. Now, in the NBA, anything above a total of 40 is exceptional. LeBron's total production has exceeded 40 in 17 different seasons. Now here's Michael's total average points, assists, and rebounds for every season of his career. This is by far the greatest argument in favor of LeBron in the GOAT debate. The man has simply sustained excellence for longer than
Yeah,
Mike did. And although the numbers are just a vehicle to greatness, there has got to be a point where the numbers are just too glaring to ignore. LeBron's numbers are getting to that point. But some fans will argue that there were other players that were still really good this late in their career. You mean like
Kareem?
Kareem,
No.
or Kobe, or Karl Malone? They weren't even close. LeBron's already the only player to be a part of the 30K, 10K, 10K club. Aside from a freak injury, he'll undoubtedly break Kareem's scoring record. He'll probably play the most seasons in an NBA career. He already has the record for most All-NBA selections, and he's still adding to what is probably the longest career highlight reel with moments like this. If LeBron is still
How does he still get up like that, man?
while still putting up All-NBA numbers, I really think it's going to be difficult to say that he's not the greatest player ever.
I'm like a year and a half older than LeBron. If I tried to jump like that off one knee,
While LeBron
my kneecap would explode.
as he plays more seasons, Michael's legacy would have been slightly diminished if he played more seasons. Of course, this isn't a matter of fact, but all the evidence
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Michael Jordan retiring after playing just 13 NBA seasons in 1998 was the best thing he could have ever done for his legacy.
That I can agree with.
He was not going to win another championship, and the backbone of the dynasty he had built had all but vanished by the beginning of the 1999 season. If he had played through that 3-year retirement gap from 1999 to 2001, he would have either stayed with the Bulls and put up huge numbers on a losing team, or signed with a different team and chased rings. Both options being far less illustrious than him going.
It's hard to know what would have happened, you know? Who knows? Who knows if he hadn't retired for a year and a half in the middle of his run, you know? All we can go off of is what he did do.
Going out on top with the team that drafted him. Michael's career was the perfect storm. He was drafted by a franchise that was ready and willing to build around him. He was on a roster that suited his skill sets extremely well, and he and the Bulls peaked right as the dominant teams from the 80s and early 90s like the Lakers, Celtics, and Pistons began to fade away. You could not have written a
It's like,
better career.
I don't know, man. Like, LeBron is just a powerhouse that has just forced his way. Like, with a lot of these points, like, how do I put this, man? Like, when he drives to the basket, it's like a freight train is coming down the lane. You're either going to get out of the way or you're going to get run over. Either way, he's going to put it in the hoop, right? Jordan was an artist, man. He was an artist, dude. He had the power, he had the speed, he had the height. I mean, his nickname's Air, for Christ's sakes. But it wasn't just that. It was if he was put off an angle, or if he was twisted or stopped or fouled or held, he still found a way to get the ball in the hoop. Like, despite his size, which he wasn't small, but like despite his size, going up against these giants back in the 80s and the 90s that like would just hack and destroy him, he still found a way to put the ball in the basket. It was art, man. It was art.
On the other hand, despite his success, LeBron really got the short end of the deal many times throughout his career. He spent his first 7 seasons in the NBA playing for a team that could not have cared less about building a coherent team.
It's
around
true.
him. He spent 4 straight finals going toe-to-toe with the most dominant dynasty in modern NBA history outside of Jordan's Bulls. While Michael was surrounded by players who were all willing to buy into their system, LeBron has spent many years carrying the load of
JR.
and seemingly incompetent teammates. Part of which is his own
Yeah.
fault for trying to play GM and putting together piss-poor rosters. And I bring up these small nuances because the GOAT debate is very nuanced. As much as people want to act like the whole 6-0 in the finals is the end-all be-all to the discussion, it's just
not.
If rings were all that mattered, then Bill Russell would be the GOAT.
Don't forget about Robert Horry,
A
man.
long time ago, that doesn't count. Okay, well then Robert Horry is the GOAT because he has 7 rings to Jordan's 6. Well yeah, but Horry wasn't the best player on any of those championships. Okay, so is the argument about rings, or is it about being the best player on the court, or a mixture of both? Is a player's performance, despite how masterful it was, all in vain if his team loses? The line becomes less and less clear the deeper you dig. No single metric can be used to determine this debate, and the unpacking of every small minute detail is a necessary burden. But unfortunately, it's a burden that most fans won't bother to take on. At the moment, I personally believe Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I also think he's the best basketball player of all time. But, unlike some fans, I don't think the door has closed on LeBron. I think that if LeBron can continue to dominate the league for a few more seasons and continue to shatter our previous notions of what we thought was possible in a single NBA
Like,
career,
just
I
the
think that he has
longevity of his career is
to retire as the greatest player
it's
of all time.
it's incredible.
But of course, only time will tell. And fortunately for LeBron, time seems to perpetually be on his side.
That's a great video. It's always a great video from Jimmy High Roller, man. Such a great video. Mike and LeBron. Yeah, no, again, I'm not apologetic about it. I believe that Michael is the greatest. He's the GOAT. I think he's the better basketball player too. But again, like I was saying at the beginning, it's two completely different styles. LeBron is an incredibly well-rounded basketball player who also happens to be excellent at everything he does. Jordan was the greatest offensive player of all time who just happened to win a Defensive Player of the Year in a number of defensive first teams. This is like paraphrasing somebody. I'm parodying this from somebody else, but if the point of basketball is to have more points than your opponent, I'll take the player that is the best offensive player of all time and can stop virtually anyone from putting basketballs into the basket. That's what it comes down to. So anyways, I hope you liked the video. Please comment, like, subscribe. I'd love to hear comments about what to watch. I'm open to just about anything. So yeah, have a great day.